Warm-up drills? I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that. Boy, that's what happens. You turn the camera on and then your fingers just jump into something. You have no idea what's going on. And you don't know what it is. It is, oh, let's see, it's May 8th. We had something really unusual happen here yesterday. It rained. Oh, it was great, except I was a little unprepared. Had a lot of stuff set out and things like that. Well, that's okay. It was very nice to get a little relief here in Northern California. Now it's back to normal. I've got all, doors open and everything. Of course, everybody complained. I had the doors open all night too. And the house full here at the Hogan Commune saying, God, it's freezing. Let's get out of here. It's been a really interesting week around here. I have a bunch of things I want to talk about. I want to talk a little bit about I heard it through the grapevine, and I'm probably not going to play too much today, but you never know. Oh, I do want to play something. Chris was here for a lesson the other day, just as I said that. It reminded me of this cool tune. I asked him in his lesson if he still remembered this. And like usual, he just rips into it. And in about 10 seconds, it was like it all came back, and I'm sure he hadn't played it in months. That kind of retention. Youth. And the brains of youth. Don't waste it. Anyway. Yeah, we even talked about this. Do a lesson on that sometime. So as soon as a couple people identify what it is, I'm sure I've talked about it in other lessons, but let's see, some of the things I want to talk about today. The great question from Victor about IGC homework. So we'll talk a little bit about camp and the couple new exciting things on the forum. I guess let me give you the rundown of the stuff we had, the new stuff that we had this week. We had 2 lessons from Vanessa. The last one was Adele's version of Cure song, Lovesong. Really nice little finger picking thing in A minor. And it's funny because it reminded me a lot. Here's another name that tune. A ton of songs use this type of progression. Or some variation of it. Oh, I don't want to turn this into a puzzle. There's one. Here's a really obscure one. See if you could tell me this. Same guy had a hit with a song that went something like this. Okay, enough on progressions. A little variation on it. Okay, settle down. I really had some stuff I want to talk to you about. What else? The two new things on the... Wait, let's finish the songs first. I appreciate everybody who waited a few weeks. I kind of had this finished, but I had a few things I had to check on Cavatina. So we finally got the end of Cavatina out. How's it in? And make sure to hang on to that E when you go to the B7 chord. And try to keep the B ringing as you go to the open E. And then no squeaks when you move those notes. Okay, last minute touches on Cavatina. I had a lot of fun putting that one together, so I hope a lot of people are tackling it. Let's see, there was another unusual song. Oh, then we had that came about just because one of my students asked me about it the other day, and I thought, I swear I've done a lesson on that. And then I looked up our stuff, and we're very thin on Tom Petty songs. Oh, that is the right key, I think. I don't think I've done that one yet. Anyway, when I saw the shortage of Tom Petty songs, I thought there's definitely it's time to throw another one in. So we went for one that I would consider really easy, Free Fallin', but some interesting things going on in that. And then Sandy and I were working on Angel, so we have a little bit more to go with that, since we have Vanessa's lesson up on it. We talk about transposing it, talk about singing it, and all that other stuff. So she's come a long way with that. So that was the new stuff for the week. But the big stuff was, requests from people. I know the recommend a lesson thing has as I mentioned on the forum, I feel like it's sort of run its course because it's just gotten so big and done the, I don't know, 100 out of the top 300 requests probably at this point. I will still get to some that are on there that appear to be being neglected or ignored. Really, none of them are. I know everything that's on there. Now, some, I'm not sure I'm going to get to the, let me think, what was in there? Bolero, probably not happening. Probably not Bohemian Rhapsody either. Probably a bunch of B's are not happening. But probably will get to this someday. I remember I talked a little while ago about the Wrecking Crew. Uh-oh. There we go. Just got confused with another song. Oh, because I told you about this hymn thing I did last week, right? Okay, yeah, that was kind of cool. Pete Huttlinger did a nice arrangement of that. I stumbled upon it when I was looking for one for the service I had to do last week. Okay, wait. Now what I really want to talk about. I'm glad. Who was it? Andy brought up the thing. Hey, is the busking thing working? And Chris came back and said, nope, it hasn't worked for a while. And I know it hadn't worked for a while. Well, we finally got one of our tech wizards who was off doing other things for a couple of years and is back with us now. Is TG Mike. And when TG Mike got wind of the fact that the Busking Uploader wasn't working, he brought in his muscle guys yesterday or a couple days ago. And sure enough, in a half an hour, I got the message back. Hey, it's working. And so So I hope people will start putting more things back up in the Busking channel, and my plan is to use that for some student reviews that we'll put out for everybody. I mean, it got a little bit unwieldy with it being stuff that was only access to for Target members, but at this point, I'd really like, when I see stuff in there, and I know there's a lot of stuff I could start working on right now. John's got some great things, and Kevin put some cool stuff up lately, and like I mentioned last week, really enjoyed hearing Kevin's versions of the Dan Fogelberg and Gordon Lightfoot songs. So anyway, please get back on board using the Busking channel and sharing songs with us. And then the request a lesson thing, as Matt and I were talking the other day, I said, why don't we just go back to the way it was when we had it as a forum topic. And so if you just go to the main forum and go down to the the first big chapter is what new stuff on the site, and that's where we put a lot of announcements. And the second big section is TG discussions and information. And a few of those I got kind of buried for a little while because we haven't been able to do a live show for a while, but we might. We're not burying that completely. But we had a spot in there where you could ask questions for the live thing. I really would like to encourage the questions and answers thing. People posting questions in that they'd like to get answered. And I'll try to make that more a habit of the news as well. In any case. Mark's request for I Heard It Through the Grapevine really made me think, let's just get it this way, and that way more people come to the forum than go to the recommend a lesson thing, and or the recommend a lesson section. And so that way we could have discussions going on about requests, and people could say, hey, this would be a great song to do, and somebody else could come in and say, nah, that's a waste of time because it's just like 8 days a week. It's the same song. Anyway, so I'd like to see more discussion about requests, and that has got me absolutely working on Mark's request, which I'll get to in just a second. I had one more thing I want to talk about, Victor's question about IGC homework. So we have, the real plan is everybody should have a couple of songs that they're ready to play. They don't have to even be complete. It's not, but it's just part of the opportunity, part of the plan is to have the opportunity to play in front of some people. And with, I think Vanessa mentioned something that is not exactly going to happen because with the amount, we're going to have close to 40 people probably. And so we will not have Dave play with everybody one night. And we may not be able to get to everybody one night. Well, we probably can. We'll see how it goes. But I think the plan will be to spread Dave out. Each night he might play with 10 or 12 people or 15, whatever it takes, so that everybody does get a chance to have Dave back them up if they would like. I hope some of you have been looking at some of Dave's videos out there with Al Stewart and stuff, because it's just, you can see how much fun he has with Al in the first place, and he's just that much fun in general. So, and a little bit later as we get closer, within a couple months, I might send out a list of songs that we might try to do as some like campfire sing-along songs. Even though we probably can't have campfires here in the Santa Cruz Mountains, but we can at least kind of sit around and play some songs together, which will be part of the fun. We should be able to do songs like Mr. Bojangles, Tambourine Man, any song that starts with a Mr. We'll take a look at. Let's see, and okay, last week I gave you a couple hints about getting started on I Heard It Through the Grapevine. And one of them, I think where I started, was to learn to keep just a steady quarter note bass going and play the little lick in a couple of different inversions. Now that's playing it with an inverted fifth, playing an A on the fourth string and a D on the third string, which would be the fifth and the root, respectively from low to high, of a D chord. You can also play it, it'd be good to work on it down here with the D on the bottom, D open and the A on the second fret. And just get that roll, and that's what we use as an intro. Then we want to get to the fuller chord version. And for that one, we want to use a D minor chord. There's a couple different ways. I'm actually, I do have to confess, there will be a lesson on this coming out soon, or at least some way or another. We're going to get to all the cool stuff that can be done as the accompaniment for I Heard It Through the Grapevine. It'll be a while till we get to tackling something like what Michael Chapdelaine did, but I'm going to start with how you can back somebody up with it, and maybe we'll even throw in a little solo. I don't know. But first we want to have the intro just playing parallel fifths. So D and an A, and then up to an F and a C, and then back to the D and the A, and the last time around the F and the C drop down to an E and a B. And you can experiment with different fingers that you think would be the best way to do that. Then once we get into the real keyboard part that backs up the vocals, we want to use a D minor, just the normal top 3 strings of a D minor. Oh, I'm in drop D tuning, by the way. I hope you guys noticed that when I went into that a little while ago. So the D minor is going to move up to a mini G, 3-string G, 2 notes at the 3rd and the next note at the 4th. Back and forth. Now, a really efficient way to finger this to make it easier would be to play the D minor shaped like the G. Play a 2-string bar on the 1st and 2nd strings, and then use your 4th finger for the note on the 3rd fret on the D. And when it moves up to the G chord, just keep that exact same shape and take your 4th finger off and then come back. So you don't have to do any real finger prestidigitational kind of stuff. I've also experimented with doing that, and I kind of like it better, not on those strings, but on the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th strings. So see if you can figure out, once you kind of have an idea of what I'm talking about there, see if you can figure out how to take that to the middle strings. It just has a little mellower tone, a little more muted tone, more like what we hear out of the keyboard than hearing the high E string. Now this might be way too subtle for the camera, for the mic on the camera to pick up. But a little better blending of those middle strings without the 1st string involved as I work on this. Okay, that is it for today. Next week, let's see, what do we got? Nah, probably not. We'll see. Did I have anything else I want to talk about? Everything on my list is covered. And oh, by the way, could do the same thing in standard tuning. So, might be better off playing it in E and not worry about the drop D tuning. We'll explore that as I continue messing with this. Okay, that's it. Hope to see some things on the Request a Lesson forum and some busking uploads that can turn into student reviews. Only if you want. If you say, hey, please don't tell me anything about this, that'd be okay too. So, and otherwise, I'll be back next week. Busy weekend around here. My daughters are dancing in a huge Hawaiian show tomorrow night, so we'll be out at the Fox Theater in Redwood City, close to here, and listening to Hawaiian music and watching some great dancers. Okay, I hope everybody else has a great weekend. I am looking forward to one myself, and we'll be back next week.